Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Laura Miklic, and I'm the press officer at the Permanent Mission of the Republic of Slovenia to the United Nations. I am happy and pleased to be at your service during the busy month of September. It is with great honor to welcome you all here to this room and online via UN Web TV. And as you all know, Slovenia has just assumed its first presidency of the United Nations Security Council during its 2-year term on the Council. And today, from the Slovenian mission, we are joined by the representative of Slovenia to the United Nations Security Council, Ambassador Samuel Žbogar, as well as political coordinator Klemen Ponikvar. The ambassador will get us started by giving you a brief overview of the program of work for September, our plans and signature events. Then we will move to the Q&A session, during which I kindly ask everyone to introduce yourselves and present your media outlets. Also, I do know you are all fond of some trivia, so if you ever wondered if there has been an international day proposed by Slovenia, the right answer is yes, there has. This is World Bee Day, celebrated every year on May 20th. And now, without further ado, Mr. Ambassador and the President of the Security Council for the month of September, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Laura, and also good afternoon from my side. Very excited to be here today. And just to follow up on the quiz question, that's why we served honey today at the breakfast with the ambassadors of the Security Council. So I'm delighted to present the plans and the program of the presidency, Slovenian presidency of the Council for September. As you know, September is a very busy month, and it is a special honor. And this year, even more so, since we have not only high-level week, but also Summit for the Future. And of course, that's an honor, but at the same time presents also a special challenge. It is the second time in our history that we are presiding the Council, to serve on the Council as elected members. But many things have changed since the time we served 25 years ago. Slovenia has changed, but also situation in international relations has changed a lot. But there is one thing that remains the same, and this is the responsibility of the Security Council for maintenance of peace and security, of international peace and security in accordance with the Charter. And this is also the central premise of our presidency, because time and again we see the urgent need to restore political will and trust to strengthen the global order that we have been building for decades, and that we are witnessing its erosion in the past years. And this is where our slogan also comes in, building trust, securing future. So as I said, we have a special honor to preside the Council in the month that is busy with the UN General Assembly and Summit for the Future. And this also led us in our consideration for the events that we are going to organize, the special events. So following broad consultations with the membership of the General Assembly, and in accordance with expectations of the membership, we are planning 2 open debates. First open debate on the UN peacekeeping operations on the 9th of September, which will focus on the importance of the Security Council's unified political support for the peace operations, so that which will enable them to deliver on the mandates that they're given. The debate will also provide opportunity to reflect on how we can foster trust and rally support for peace operations, which will add to the broader discussions on the future of peacekeeping operations. So this will be a chance to reflect also on the future of the UN peacekeeping, given everything that has been happening to the US peacekeeping operations in the past years. And this is also to follow up on Secretary General request from the new Agenda for Peace, where he is calling on General Assembly and Security Council to reflect on the future of peacekeeping. The main signature event for our presidency will be during the high-level week on the 25th of September under the chairmanship of the Prime Minister of Slovenia, Robert Golob. And there are two main points that will be discussed at that meeting, which will be an open debate. One is building trust, recommitting to the purposes and principles of the UN Charter, respect to the international law, and implementation of Security Council resolutions. And second, securing the future, sharing the vision of the strengthened multilateral system that can effectively address matters of international peace and security with the UN at its core. The event is responding to the calls, the rising calls of the UN membership to strengthen the legitimacy and relevance of the Council. And this is, I think it's very important to stress that we have been, in the 8 months of our membership, we have been observing the erosion of both. Sierra Leone addressed the legitimacy issue. This is the membership issue, and we are going to address the relevance issue, meaning how much is Security Council at the driving seat of solving conflicts and problems. So the event follows our observation that we live in a world of grim statistics with the highest number of ongoing conflicts, with the highest record high casualties among civilians, among humanitarians, among medical workers, among journalists. Conflicts have driven numbers of forcibly displaced people to record highs. I think over 100 million people are on the run. Despite abundance of wealth, we live in a time of hunger and protection crisis. And women and children bear the biggest burden. Climate change, water scarcity, and pollution are adding pressure on migratory movements and consequently on peace and security. So the world is becoming less stable, less peaceful, and with erosion of the respect for the rules, it is sliding into the state of disorder. We have not seen this high a need to rebuild trust, to secure the future ever before. And the precondition for rebuilding trust is full respect and compliance with the Charter of the United Nations. So this will be the guiding theme of the signature event on the 25th of September. And we want the Security Council members to try to reflect on that and try to answer that and try to self-reflect how we can do better as the Council. And thirdly, first two being the two open debates, the thirdly, with a major threat of regional escalation of the conflict in the Middle East, it would be hard to find a more appropriate moment for the Security Council to meet the League of Arab States, the Arab Summit Troika, and the Secretary General of the League of Arab States. This high-level interactive informal dialogue will be on the 26th of September, and it will be chaired by Slovenian, our Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ms. Tanja Fajon. Now, let me go through country-specific issues that we are going to have on the agenda, or to present you the program of work, which was just approved this morning. So first, there will be a strong focus on the Middle East. First, we will continue to follow closely the situation in Gaza and in general between Israel and Palestine. So we scheduled, where already tomorrow we have a a briefing following requests by Israel on one side and Algeria on the other side. So we will have a comprehensive briefing on the hostages as well as on the situation in Gaza and the Western Bank. And then we scheduled two briefings. First is on the implementation of the resolution 2720 on the mechanism, humanitarian mechanism. Senior coordinator for humanitarian aid and reconstruction will brief us. This will be her last briefing according to resolution 2720. And then we have a briefing also mandated on the resolution 2334 on the illegal settlements, which will be chaired by the Minister of Foreign Affairs. We are encouraging members of the Council to have a forward-looking statements and reflections in their statements beyond the settlements and beyond just humanitarian aid. We would like to have member states start focusing on reconstruction, the way how that can be done and the role of the UN, and on settlements, how can we restart the process, the political process that will restart the political dialogue and eventually lead to the two-state solution. We also are planning two meetings on Syria, mandated meetings, one on chemical weapons, one on political situation. And we are planning one meeting on Yemen, regular meeting, monthly meeting on Yemen. Well, SRG, Special Envoy will brief. Then moving to Africa, we will have a meeting on quarterly update on the Security Council Committee 1591 concerning the Sudan or arms embargo on Darfur. And at the end of the month, we'll have also regular quarterly meeting on situation in Democratic Republic of Congo and briefing and consultation on MONUSCO. So these are the two already mandated meetings on Africa. We expect also meetings with regard to Sudan following requests by member states. And given the situation there, I think very much needed. Finally, the Council will address also the situation in Afghanistan, the regular brief by SRSG. We'll also have civil society briefer, where we want, we are encouraging member states to focus on women and girls and education of women and girls in Afghanistan, especially given the latest developments. And that meeting also will be chaired by the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Now, regarding the products, as they're called, that we expect to be adopted, one is on Haiti. The Haiti mandate for multinational force expires on the 2nd of October, so we expect the negotiations to take place during September and hopefully also be adopted at the end of September, the extension of the mandate. Second, there doesn't seem to be a renewal of the resolution 2240 with regard to Libya and prevention of smuggling of migrants across the Mediterranean. So that resolution will not be renewed in September, as we were informed today by the COPANs. The reporting for 2720 for Senior Coordinator for Humanitarian Aid and Reconstruction, the reporting ends at the end of September, according to the resolution. So we will conduct consultations with member states with regard to how we want to proceed in the future. And then we are also aiming at presidential statement for our signature event, Leadership for Peace, where we would hope the council members would recommit to provisions of and principles of the UN Charter. So let's see how that goes, but that's the aim that we have. Of course, we are prepared to have, and we have enough space in the program to have additional discussions as the member states will ask or as we will see it fit. We expect more discussions on Gaza, depending how the situation will evolve with regard to the ceasefire. We expect discussions on Ukraine, and as I said, on Sudan as well, and possibly on some others too. So on thematic priorities, we will aim for a result-driven, action-oriented Security Council. That's why we also didn't fill the program too much, and we are leaving space for discussions. So that's why our thematic priorities, which is conflict prevention, protection of civilians, full, equal, meaningful, and safe participation of women in peace and security, and the interplay between climate and environment challenges and peace and security, will feature prominently through the Council discussions in September, but we will not organize special, specific discussions, debates just for that. We will, of course, continue to emphasize the importance of respecting international law, especially international humanitarian law by all states and parties in conflicts at all times and in all circumstances. In accordance with the shared commitments on the principles of women, peace and security, Slovenia will promote equal participation of women in the debates. Also among our briefers, we'll pay special attention to have a gender balance. And we will organize a media stakeout on shared commitments holders on WPS ahead of the Council discussion on Afghanistan. And the same we will do for joint pledges on climate, peace and security, where we also are planning a stakeout before the peacekeeping debate on the 9th of September. And of course, we will amplify also the work on prevention of conflicts as it derives from the joint call for action on the new agenda for peace issued by the three presidencies, Sierra Leone, Slovenia, and Switzerland. We will try to have press statements or elements for press after every consultations of the Council. If that would not be agreed, we will speak in national capacity, but after every consultations, we will speak one way or the other. So in conclusion, we are taking the presidency at a time of really high volatility in international relations, at a time of increasing fragile global security and unprecedented humanitarian needs. And we will need all the support we can get in the upcoming weeks from Council members, from General Assembly members, from civil society. And we are confident that with this kind of backing, we can ensure that the Council will not be missing in action, but that actually will be able to effectively address pressing matters of international peace and security. We believe that only united Council can actually make a change, and we will strive for that. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward for your questions.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. We are happy to take your questions now. As always, the first question goes to Anka and its president, Mrs. Valeria Robeco.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ambassador, for this press conference on behalf of Anka, and we wish you the best of luck for the busy month ahead. It's Valeria Robeco from ANSA Newswire. My question is about the meeting on September 25th. Can you give us a little bit more details, like what attendance do you expect, like on the high-level point of view? Since it's like a kind of a general meeting about, you know, the UN Charter and the international law, do you expect that there will be a focus on one or more than one of the, most pressing issues of this time? So Middle East, Gaza, Ukraine. Thank you so much.
Ambassador.
I go. On the attendance, as I said, our Prime Minister will chair the meeting. We are inviting head of delegations of the Security Council members to participate. And I think we are getting a good response from the members of the Council, more or less. I think the heads of delegations, either presidents, Prime Minister, or foreign ministers, will participate. I think we'll know more closer to the date. We are having open debate, and we are already seeing a huge interest among the General Assembly members. It seems that leaders would like to address this as well. Why? Because I think that everybody sees the need to have a reflection of what is happening and what is the role of the Security Council. So what will be the focus is simply, well, maybe I should also say that we will have a Secretary General as a briefer, and we will also have the President of the ICRC, Mirjana Spoljarić-Egger, also as a briefer. What we want to focus, members, is on situation as it is in the world, with the highest number, as I said before, highest number of conflicts, highest number of civilians being killed, highest number of humanitarian workers being killed on one side. On the other side, you have Security Council that either is not adopting resolution, is not taking decision, or is taking decisions, resolutions that are not being implemented. And of course, any situation can be in the focus, but one can very easily look at the three conflicts at the moment where the Council is not able to intervene more dramatically into solving them. Of course, Gaza is the first one. We had 4 resolutions, and they're not implemented. 3 months since the last resolution that we are still patiently waiting to be implemented. We have Ukraine, where we were not even able to do any product for known reasons. And then you have Sudan, also very serious conflict, where civilians are suffering, 27 million of people in need of humanitarian aid, 7 million are starving, and so on. So you have, and all three, each of these 3 conflicts represents a danger regionally. If it can spill over into the region. Of course, Gaza is the most visible one and most pressing one. So yes, some might focus on all or some of these conflicts. Some might focus on anything else that they see. The African countries might see the chance to reflect on relationship between Africa and Security Council. I think on purpose we are leaving it open so that we hear members of the Council as well as members of the General Assembly how they see Security Council and how could the Security Council do better. And that's, I think, what we are asking, we'll be asking members, self-reflection, how we can do better. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Ambassador. We will be taking questions by rows now, if you don't mind. As I said before, kindly introduce yourself and your media outlets. So starting with the first row, Benno.
Thank you. I like that rule. Thanks. Benno Schwinghammer with the German press agency. Thank you for the briefing and good luck for the next month. Let me be a bit annoying about the open debate on the 25th and ask for names of participants. You say, like, the heads of delegations. Are we talking about Lavrov? Are we talking about Blinken? What do you have any indication from Mr. Zelensky? And then about the content of the debate. You have been very clear in the past in the Council that you see a lack of leadership in the Security Council right now. And you mentioned the crumbling relevance of the Council. Who do you blame for this?
on the attendance, I cannot be more specific because we have some indications from some members, but I don't think it's appropriate for me to reveal. Those, I think one can see very easily the speakers list in the General Assembly, and those who will be coming with the presidents will also speak inside the council. Those who would be coming as a foreign ministers, the foreign ministers will speak in the council. So we are not there yet to make the list, but somehow we have a sense. I think it is going to be good attendance. On the erosion of the role of the Security Council, I think permanent members, whom do we accuse, permanent members, it is because of this disunity among the P5 that it's impossible for the Council to be more forceful, because even when we adopt resolutions, they are usually with abstention. One or the other side is abstaining, either Russian Federation or US on Gaza, for instance. Or even in Sudan you have abstention. Actually on all important resolutions you have abstentions. And that is a message in itself to the parties on the ground that yes, the Council did adopt resolution, but you know, not really. And I think this is that was wrong. Of course, as I said to the Slovenian media recently, I said we are idealistic, but we are not naive. Of course, we don't expect one debate in the Council to change the mood in the Council. We just want that all members, and especially permanent members, reflect, because for them it's important to be members of the Council. And they don't want the Council to become irrelevant. Of course, everything deteriorated after Ukraine, after a Russian attack on Ukraine, and the mood really deteriorated, as you're witnessing daily in the Council chamber when you have these exchanges between US and Russian Federation. But yeah, we'll be calling for more unity in the Council, because we see only the total unity is the only way for success of the Council.
Okay, done with the first row. Any questions from the second one? Amélie?
Thanks, Ambassador. Amélie Botelier from AFP News Agency. Still a follow-up on the same meeting. You said you want a self-reflection, but considering the world as it is now, concretely, what would you expect, especially from the P5, to change in their behavior so that the Security Council can improve the way it has an impact or not an impact on the world conflict?
To start with, to recommit to the principles of the Charter. I think that would be good already. To international law, international humanitarian law, so that we somehow reverse the erosion that we are witnessing, this sense of impunity that we are witnessing. I think commitment to that. I think that would be a good start. And maybe for the Council to look for topics where we can be united, and to show that not every conflict needs to be geopolitical, but that we should focus on the suffering of civilians and find solutions united. Yeah, let's see. It's like, yeah, it's okay.
Okay, next one, please.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Mr. Ambassador. I'm Camilla Int'l Fard. The mic has a problem. Okay, can you hear me? You discussed that there will be 2 sessions speaking about women and girls in Afghanistan. While we are talking about Afghanistan, there are other matters too, such as the election, the future of this country, the government, and the rights of the people for voting. None of them has been included of your agenda. If you can elaborate on this, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. The meeting on Afghanistan for the meeting we'll get a report from SRHG, and the basis for discussion will be the report. where all these things will be inside all the problems of Afghanistan. And of course, member states will reflect on the whole report. We see it. We see the situation of women and girls as the most pressing one, especially now after the last law, which was adopted. So we would like that, apart from everything that they speak, they focus especially on women and girls, and come forward with the ideas how we can help with education, or how to address the problem of education of women and girls. It will not be only on that, it will be on all issues of the report, but we are encouraging members to focus on that. We see that from human rights point is the most striking element. There are many problems in Afghanistan, yes, but this for us seems to be the most dramatic one.
Okay, next one, Deji.
Thank you, Laura. This is Shidoju with China Central Television. Ambassador, first, congratulations, and I hope you have a successful month, busy month. Just to follow up also on Benno's question, we know there's an unspoken rule in the Security Council that if you're going to host a Security Council meeting on Ukraine-Russian issue, you will not put in the program of work. As in the capacity of the president, are there any countries already, or might be, are requesting for a meeting on Ukraine during UNRWA week? And Benno just asked, let me just expand his question a little bit. Do you expect both President Zelensky or maybe Prime Minister Netanyahu to be in the Security Council meetings during UNRWA week? Thank you.
Thank you. We do expect that Ukraine will be on the agenda of the Council. We do expect that members of the Council will ask for a meeting. Just today, there was another horrible attack with, I understand, several dozens civilians being killed. Unfortunately, the reason for the meetings on Ukraine will continue. So we do expect that. But so far we haven't received any formal request yet from any of the members, so we cannot schedule it yet. We are open for the big debate on 25th. Everybody's invited, so we don't have indications whether the two leaders that you mentioned will participate. Both of them will be welcome.
Thank you very much. The next question goes to Maggie.
Thanks, Laura. Congratulations, Ambassador. Good luck this month. It's going to be busy. The Egyptian foreign minister has written to you, I believe, about the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. I don't see anything on the calendar. Is there any plan for a meeting or AOB or anything on the rising tensions between Egypt and Ethiopia over the dam?
We received a letter yesterday, and we circulated the letter. I don't think there was a request for a meeting in the letter itself, but I'm planning a meeting with the ambassador this week, and I'll discuss with him on the expectation and on the problem. Our understanding is that this issue is being handled regionally, but yeah, I'll discuss with the ambassador and see for the way forward.
Thank you. Michelle?
Thanks, Laura. Thanks, Ambassador, and good luck for the month. Just on the main meeting during high-level week, I know you don't want to confirm who's attending and who's requested to speak, but there were reports last week that the North Korean foreign minister might attend UNRWA this year. If she does travel to New York, would you like to see her take part in this Security Council meeting? And then last week on Gaza, one of the Security Council members raised some concerns about whether the current negotiations were possibly drifting away from the framework that was backed by the Security Council in the June resolution. Is that a reflection of broader concern among Council members? Are they worried that the negotiations that are taking place now and some of the sticking points we've seen reported, is that drifting away from what the Council's backed in the resolution? Thanks.
Thank you very much. I think the broader concern is that we have been waiting 3 months for the implementation of our resolution, 2735. And as one could see from statements, not only last week, but also from past several weeks, there is a rising anxiousness in the Council that it has to move one way or the other. Either there is a ceasefire, or that the Council then reflects on what else we can do to bring the ceasefire. In my national capacity, I was saying the same thing. But this is the general, it's quite a mood in the Council. So I think this is the tension that is raising, and I'm pretty sure that in September it will have to go, under our presidency, it will have to go one way or the other, not because we want so, but because I think the patient is out. So we hope that there is a ceasefire, since especially after this killing of the 6 hostages and the pressure now that is building inside Israel as well to finalize finally the deal. We hope that we do come to the ceasefire, which of course will not be the end, but only the beginning of what do we do next. But yes, if the deal is done, I'm pretty sure it will come to the Council for discussion and approval or confirmation. If the deal is not done, I'm pretty convinced that very soon we will need to meet to discuss what do we do.
What could the Council do? What could the Council do if there's no ceasefire
Well, the Council
deal?
could establish that the resolution 2735 has not been implemented, and then reflect on what else we can do. There are many tools that Council has at disposal. But to start, I think one would need to establish that we have to move on from 2735, because for the past 3 months, the Council was waiting implementation of that resolution.
And then just on North Korea.
Oh yeah, North Korea. Yes. Well, whoever heads the North Korean delegation, North Korea is member of the General Assembly, is member of the United Nations. Whoever heads and comes, the delegation and comes to New York, as everybody else, is invited to speak in the discussion.
Thank you very much. Abdelhamid.
Thank you. Congratulations, Mr. President. My name is Abdelhamid Sayam from the Arabic daily Al-Quds Al-Arabi. Your country, sir, had recognized the state of Palestine on June 4 with other European countries. And the ICJ decided that the occupation is illegal, it should end. The settlers are illegally there. So what the Palestinians can do, they've been under occupation for 57 years. They've been under attack by the most sophisticated army in the Middle East for now almost a year. And the West Bank has been constantly under attack. What can you recommend to the Palestinians to do other than resisting occupation? The two-state solution is becoming almost a mirage. And if you saw the press conference of Mr. Netanyahu yesterday, he put a map, and the West Bank is not there, only Israel, and he put also a sign for Gaza. So what the Palestinians can do when they see their hope for an independent state is almost vanishing? Thank you, sir.
Well, I have to answer in national capacity. I don't think I can answer as the President of the Council. I think ICJ opinion is very clear on the illegality of occupation, and that it needs to end. So that, I think, is very clear, and also the Council doesn't need to repeat that. I mean, ICJ on itself it's independent institution. I think we should go one step at a time. I think we should get ceasefire first. I think we should all aim to get a ceasefire in Gaza. Then, because this suffering has to end. This killing, the suffering, including the killing of the hostages, which we witnessed this week. This has to end. And you know, we in the council, several of the members, long time ago, lost the words to express our horror with what we are witnessing in Gaza. That's clear, and with every meeting, you hear more and more members becoming emotional because it's difficult to be aware of the responsibility being the council member, and at the same time watching that it's continuing the suffering of civilians. So I think first and foremost, I think is ceasefire, and whatever needs to be done to get the ceasefire, also we as the president will try to do. If there is anything that the three negotiators need, we will provide. I'll talk as the president with the three ambassadors to see what kind of support they need from the council in order to finally finalize it. And then we want the three debates, the three discussions that we will have, that I mentioned, on a senior coordinator of humanitarian aid and reconstruction. We want her and us, maybe in consultation room, to focus on reconstruction. We want the settlements to focus on political process leading to two-state solution, because settlements are obstruction to two-state solution. And the solution speaks about two-state solution. Everybody supports two-state solution. Okay, so how can we draw a plan that will lead us there? We want to start this discussion in the council, and that, I think, would maybe give some hope to Palestinians that international community is still on the same line and working toward the time when they will have a state that will be, well, they will have a recognized state also by everybody. That I will say. And that's why we are devising these two discussions. We want to look ahead, because we are seeing for the past briefings that, you know, we get briefings, humanitarian situation, we are all sad and we are emotional, but that's just, you know, we are just listening to briefings and reacting on the briefings, while we would want that we go beyond that. And that's why we want to discuss reconstruction. We want to discuss with Arab League how to help Palestinian Authority to govern what's needed for the governance of Gaza beyond ceasefire. So this is what I can say, where we see we should focus.
So do you see that the meeting on 26 will come up with some new ideas or a new roadmap, or what?
I think it's maybe too ambitious to already talk about new roadmap, but we want to trigger discussion inside the council about that. How do we start discussing this process, which is for the council to discuss more than the humanitarian situation.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, let's go, Stefan.
Thank you, Laura. Stefano Vaccara, La Voce New York Int'l Press. Congratulations for your presidency. Article 34 of the Lisbon Treaty of the European Union says that the EU members at the UN Security Council must act in concert and foster the interests of the EU. Now, this year is also 20 years that Slovenia is part of the European Union. So what you really are you going to do in the month of September to show to the world that the EU exists or doesn't exist, depends on what you will do, and in foreign policy. And then you just mentioned Libya. Well, for example, European interest here talking. Here in the program, I mean, you just say something very important that the Council is not going to renew the resolution to stop the ships in the Mediterranean to see if they're smuggling weapons or migrants. I don't see, or maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see one specific day dedicated to Libya. I understand that last month there was also a press statement from the Council. But are you giving up on Libya?
This month, Libya is not mandated. That's why it's not on the program. On the program was resolution 2240, which authorized European Mission Irini to gave mandate to control ships suspected of organized migration, of carrying migrants. Yes, on the proposal of France and Malta, we are not going to extend the resolution. Malta and France are co-pen holders for this resolution, and they informed the Council that they don't plan to pursue this resolution, that the European Union doesn't need mandate from the Security Council on that part anymore. Irini has two mandates. One was from June, which passed, and on this one it doesn't seem that there is a need anymore. That was from the EU. What Slovenia is going to do for the EU, I think we as the EU member are trying to demonstrate for the past 8 months, and will try to do the same in September, that we don't have a double standards, that for us all crises are equally important. The war in Ukraine, the war in Gaza, the war in Sudan, DRC, Somalia and post-ATMIS, whichever, or Sahel, on all of these conflicts, we are active in the Council. And also during the presidency, we want to demonstrate that for us, human lives, wherever they're lost, are equally important. And through that, I think this is the bigger I think this is the best we can do for the EU, to help the EU or to show to the general membership in the UN that members of the EU don't have double standards. We are not focusing only on Ukraine, which we hear in the General Assembly some comments about, but that we are equally concerned for other conflicts as well. And that's, I think that's how we can help, we believe, European Union. Of course, on the topics, we are, as the EU, we are briefing each other. We are briefing member states regularly, weekly, on the ambassador's level, on the other levels. So that coordination works very well within the EU, so that all members of the EU are informed about what's happening in the Council. But since you ask what can we do for the EU, I think we can help the EU dispel this notion of double standards that the EU supposedly has.
Okay, continuing. Row number 4. Yuya?
Thank you, Laura. My name is Yuya from Kyodo News, Japanese media. Congratulations, Ambassador, and thank you for your briefing. My question is about the presidential statement which you said. Can you explain it a little bit more? And it seems to be difficult to get an agreement to issue the statement under such kind of situation. How do you persuade the members to get an agreement? Thank you.
Well, I said we will try. We are aware it's difficult. The mood is not pleasant. It is a poisonous mood in the Council, but we will try. I think we established good relations with all members of the Council in the past 8 months. I think we, humbly, I can say we did build some trust with all. We don't plan to surprise anybody. We are not surprising anybody in the Council. So let's see. You're right, it's not going to be easy. We'll prepare a very simple document, which in principle everybody should be okay, but many documents are simple and Council members are not okay. So we will give a try. We'll do everything that it gets adopted. If we see that it doesn't go through, we will abandon. But we hope that this is an opportunity for the Council to recommit to the Charter, to international law, to peaceful solution of the conflicts, and to show some unity, which we believe it's really the key for more successes in the future.
Thank you very much. Okay, next question, please.
This is Arun Lewis from Indo-Asian News Service. You spoke about the inefficiency or the inability of the Security Council to act. Would you want to address the question of the reform of the Security Council, one on expansion and two on the use of veto on certain issues which some of the countries like Mexico and France have wanted restrictions placed? Thank you.
Well, the reform of the Security Council is not on the agenda of the Security Council. So you're asking for national position?
Yeah.
Well, as for the national position, we spoke in the Council in August when there was a debate about the reform of the Security Council. But otherwise, we are supporting, I'll go back. I think the Council needs the reform. That's obvious, because it does have issue with legitimacy among the general membership. At the same time, it's very difficult to see the end of this process, which has been going on for many years. Second, we see the claim from Africa that they are the most underrepresented, the only continent that doesn't have representation among the permanent members. And that logic, that argument seems to be a very convincing one. And they have very strong push for the reform. And that's why also we had discussion under Sierra Leone. As for us, we are supporting expansion in both categories. For us, of course, the most important is expansion in non-permanent membership, because we are, and we will always be a non-permanent elected members. On the veto, we have, of course, as everybody, problem with the veto. Realistically, it's difficult to see how it will get eliminated. But I think there's a way, and it should be discussed how it could be more regulated. And that I think are the positions.
Okay, next question, please, goes to Dulcie.
Thanks very much. I just wanted to make sense of Wednesday's meeting on Gaza and the hostages. The format will be 2 separate meetings on the 2 different topics, or it's going to be a blend of both?
A blend, one meeting.
One meeting.
A comprehensive, holistic, if you want, meeting, where we discuss, this is all part of the same problem.
Okay.
Lack of ceasefire.
Thanks very much. And on the 16th, related to the UN coordinator of aid and reconstruction, Sigurd Kaag is going to brief behind closed doors?
No, there will be an open briefing and then consultations behind closed doors, both.
So she'll be briefing publicly?
She'll be briefing the Council publicly.
Okay, so what exactly are you going to do in this meeting? You're going to renew that mandate, or because I thought it was ended in December.
No, the mandate, the reporting, according to that resolution 2720, the reporting ends end of September. In December, when they adopted resolution, everybody thought that the war would have been way over by September, and that's why I guess they put end of September. So her reporting ends, and we will be consulting with members how we do about it. Do we need a new resolution? Is there another way we can extend just the reporting? There are different ideas, and we'll have to consult in the next 2 weeks to find a solution.
And is Sigrid Kaag going to continue in this role if you renew the mandate?
She was appointed by Secretary General, so Security Council doesn't have a role with her appointment.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay. Yes, please.
Hi, Mike Weisenstein with the Associated Press. Could you just talk a little bit more about what you hope and expect to see from tomorrow's meeting on Gaza?
We will have a briefing and we will have a discussion. On one side, of course, on the 6 hostages that were killed. On the other side, on the situation in the West Bank, as well as situation in Gaza with polio vaccination going on, but at the same time with all the problems that are there. We don't expect any product coming out of it. Simply an overview. This is a briefing that was requested by Israel on one side and Algeria on the other side, so we are just responding to the requests. But we had the briefing last week, so the new thing is the 6 hostages and the violence in the West Bank. So this is the new elements that are coming in. But it will be just a briefing. And for us to know more and to raise the pressure, I think it's just raising the pressure on the Council to move to the next step. But I think we are still waiting and hoping for the ceasefire, given that the 3 negotiators are still continuing. So I don't expect at this moment or tomorrow that we'll go forward already with the new draft, even though some members might be indicating the urgency and the need to move forward.
Thank you very much. Okay. Yes, sir?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Ambassador, and good luck with this month. I have a question also. It's through the media network, by the way. It's a Kurdish outlet. My question is also about the Security Council. I mean, we hear a lot of criticism these days about the Security Council, which is like Security Council can meet its responsibilities, and which is the piece of the security of the world. And as a president of Security Council, do you agree that if we don't, why? And in addition, if you don't mind, if I'm wrong, please correct me. You also criticized the permanent member of Security Council because you said there is no unity between those members. If I'm not wrong, can you please tell us, do you have any specific plan to build a unity between those members, permanent members? Thank you. If I am not wrong, I mean, yes. If I'm wrong, please correct me. You criticized the permanent member of the Security Council.
Yes.
You said there is no unity between those members.
Right.
And if that's right, do you have a specific plan to build a unity between?
Yes, I am critical of the permanent members because they have bigger responsibility than the elected members. As you, I'm sure that if you had only elected members in the Council, you would have more resolutions adopted on different issues. If we have a plan, that would be too ambitious, I think, for us to intervene. As long as the war in Ukraine lasts, I think we'll be very difficult to improve the mood among the permanent members. And that's the fact. But given that reality, I think we have together to look how we can function better, and how we can make Security Council more present. We see the tendency that more and more issues are being dealt with outside of the Council, either by the regional groups or a few countries together. It's on any of the issues. You see that the Council and the UN is being pushed on the side somehow. And that, as a small country who believes in multilateralism and the UN at the center of multilateralism, we don't think it's a good trend that the things are being pulled away from the UN. So we want to simply have a discussion, a reflection, and I think it's a process. It's not something that we will change with one debate or 1 month.
Okay, last few short questions, please. Augusta didn't have one today.
Thank you, Ambassador, and best of luck this month. Augusta Saraiva with Bloomberg News. On Haiti, what are you expecting to see in terms of the mandate renewal? Are you expecting it to be a rollover, or so far are members proposing any changes to the mandate?
We expect a rollover. We hope for a rollover. And I think that's the most realistic. It took a long time for first deployment of Kenyan forces, but now it's happening. Other countries are joining in. Political process somehow is starting. I don't want to be too optimistic, but there is certain process. There is a road that Haiti started. So in this situation, I think the force is needed, and we need to extend the mandate. And so I expect the technical rollover. Of course, there is the whole issue of financing, which I don't think is solved yet. There's not enough funds for that mission, but that's a separate issue, but I believe will be touched upon as well in these discussions.
Okay, next one, please.
Hi, Ambassador. Alina Int'l from Security Council Report. Thank you for your briefing. Just a quick question on Sudan. Was there any requests for a meeting already? If yes, what timeline do you think the meeting will take place in, and what will it focus on? Thank you.
There were some indications for the meeting already. One is on humanitarian situation, given that Arde crossing point is open now. The last briefing we had a few weeks ago was a very dramatic one. Everything was closed. Zamzam camp was going through the starvation. People were dying because of hunger. So it was pretty dramatic. Now it seems this has changed since SAF or Sudan authorities agreed to open Arde. So it would be good to have an update what's going on. And there was indication there will be requests for that. At the same time, of course, there's also political process that two processes that started in Geneva. And we will probably also get some update on where the things stand. But nothing fixed yet.
Sorry, and okay, let's have the very last question for today. Who is this going to be? Abdelhamid. Okay, last chance.
Thank you again. I want to ask you about your opinion on UNRWA, because it's been under attack. It has been accused as a terrorist organization. It's unprecedented in history to accuse a UN humanitarian agency of being terrorist. Also, in relation to that, the Israeli ambassador shredded the charter in front of the member state. He accused those who voted for a Palestinian statehood as terrorists. And in his final remarks, he said he wants to see this building erased to the ground. And yet people still, countries, dealing with Israel as a normal state. Why is that? Thank you.
On UNRWA, I think we are we have full support for UNRWA. We were with Jordan and Kuwait, among the lead sponsors of the shared commitments on UNRWA when we saw under what difficulties it was going through, and the withdrawal of the funding and so on. And that's the commitments that got more than 120 support in the end. We believe UNRWA is the backbone of humanitarian assistance in Gaza, well, also for all Palestinian refugees, but specifically for Gaza. Also now, with the vaccination campaign, UNRWA is on the ground and is helping with vaccinations. So all support for UNRWA. I don't think it's only UNRWA that has issues with Israel. We see that Israel has issues with Secretary General, with UNRWA, with even humanitarian staff has problems getting visas. It's probably not Israel, but maybe Israeli government, to be more precise. So we believe that the only way to solution is through dialogue. In order to have a dialogue, you need to have a person present and participating. So yes, it's I think relationship between UN and Israel government are going through very difficult times, but I think we need to sustain and keep the dialogue with Israel, even though it's difficult. When it's a ceasefire, we'll need to discuss with Israel on many elements, on the reconstruction of Gaza, on the governance of Gaza, and most importantly on the political process leading to a mutual recognition between Palestine and Israel. So in that sense, you need a dialogue. So we are a delegation of consensus and dialogue. So and we support that. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Okay, I think we've come to an end of this very informative press conference. Thank you very much for all of your questions and for being here today. We wish you a successful day and month. Make it a good one, and goodbye.
Thank you very much. Thanks.